I'm going to bring on our next guests. Go ahead and bring them over. This is Joel Dumareq, President and CEO of Christina Lake Cannabis, and Nicco Dehaan, I hope I pronounced that correctly, COO and Master Grower at Christina Lake as well. Now, you guys, the ticker, hold on one second, it's CLC on the Canadian Stock Exchange and CLCFF on OTC. Did I get that right?
You got it right. Perfect.
Awesome. Well, it's great to see you both. I know we have a quick video that we want to start with, so let's go ahead and roll that.
Christina Lake is very much a community-based business. What our plan was from the outset was to grow very natural, sun-grown, naturally hydrated cannabis in an outdoor environment and to do it on large scale. My name is Joel Dumareq. I'm the Chief Executive Officer and Director of Christina Lake Cannabis.
Christina Lake Cannabis Corporation should be known not for one thing, but three things: reputation, quality, and consistency.
What we're producing is we're producing a very, very low-cost, high-quality product with a high THC content, and then taking that product and further refining it into oils and distillates, which we can then sell to other producers that are producing Cannabis 2.0 products, things such as the edible market and the pharmaceutical grade market. We have a custom-built facility that we built over the last 2 years, about 16,000 square feet. Within that, we have CO2-based extraction. Not only does it turn out a very, very high-quality oil and distillate, but it also allows us to be EU, European Union, GMP compliant. So our product can effectively be sold into Europe and other locations around the world.
And with our strains and quality, I have no doubt that we're going to be a player in the marketplace this coming year and certainly in the future as well.
I think the key things that differentiate us and the advantages that Christina Lake has as a business are, first and foremost, our location. Secondly, our low cost structure. Thirdly, the potency of our product. Fourth, the genetics, just the strength of our genetics. And last but not least is our people, the strength, the experience, the knowledge of the team at Christina Lake Cannabis.
Great. Well, looks like we're back into it. Patrick, thanks for the introduction, and it's great to be back with Benzinga and your audience. And I've got to make sure that, Nicco, we got to find out how we get some of that stuff that Todd was feeding his dog. That's looks like pretty good stuff for sleeping. Anyway, maybe I'll just give a little bit of an overview of, again, what Christina Lake is. I think people probably got a sense out of the video. When we were last in this forum, we were completing construction, and we were launching our first crop last year, which went extremely well, and we're really happy with the results of. And now what we're doing is we're selling almost on a daily basis the product that's coming out of that first crop. So we've been selling extracted product, winterized oil, distillate into the marketplace, doing very well with that. We're really pleased with the progress that we've been making. And then we've also been getting ready to set up and put the 2021 crop into the ground, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But as the video suggests, again, we're a outdoor grower and extractor. We have a custom-built extraction facility, which is truly state-of-the-art. If ever you're up in the Christina Lake area, I'd really encourage you to drop by and have a tour of the facility. It is really, really impressive. Looks, somebody was telling me the other day, very much like a medical facility or a hospital. It's so clean and professionally operated. I am the CEO of the company, but the person that I think is way more interesting and pivotal to our story is Nicco, who sits before you as well. And Nicco is one of our 4 founders that came together about 3 or 4 years ago with a vision to build this facility and put the operation into practice. We're located, as the name would suggest, up in Christina Lake, which is in the Kootenays, and for our American friends, that's in south central British Columbia. It really is the epicenter of outdoor grow of cannabis in Canada, and has been even in the pre-legalization days. So you can think of a really dry, arid climate, lots of sunlight, which is really, really important as far as development of our product is concerned. And Nicco, maybe what I can ask you to do is talk a little bit about some of the advantages that we have in the location up in the Kootenays there, and then maybe also touch on our genetics, which the video profiled, which I think is really the strength of the company, is the strength of our genetics and the quality of the product that we're actually putting into the ground and therefore taking out of the ground.
Yeah, so as far as genetics goes, we're very fortunate that there's been a long cannabis history in this area. So we've been able to utilize and capitalize on that. There's been cannabis grown in large-scale production since the 60s. Many of those genetics are some of the backbones of the breeding program that we use. So we use those cultivars that are ideally suited for outdoor, and we'll cross them into different indoors and create basically high potency, high terpene strains that finish outside, which is challenging to do. Christina Lake is kind of a gem for outdoor growing. We have very warm springs, warm summers, warm falls, and relatively dry. Our site is basically as south as you can get in the province. We're right on the American border. It's almost semi-desert. Like, we've actually hit mid-30s this week, and our plants are absolutely thriving. This year we have 40 to 45,000 plants right now, 15,000 seedlings, mainly feminized seed, and then about 30,000 clones. The majority of those clones are the production strains from last year. There's 7 strains basically that we pulled large volumes of, and then we have about 50 other strains that we've bred that we're running trial basis of this year that will be in the future, and hopefully next year, that some of them have displayed up to 26% THC and 3, 4, even 5% on some basis of terpenes. So really good products. And so we're very excited to test those out this year and bring them into our more production strains for next year.
Awesome. As you're well aware, Nicco, the strains that we planted last year and harvested last year were anywhere from 14-15% all the way up in some cases to the low 20% in THC. What we're looking at this year with those experimental strains you referred to is some of the strains are proving out in the mid-20 range. And so that would really transition and revolutionize our business if the product that's going into our extraction facility is much higher in THC to begin with. What we've been finding and what we're fortunate with our genetics is that as the product is coming out of our extraction facility and going onto the marketplace, we're consistently now in the low to mid 90% range as far as THC in our distillate. And it's just this beautiful honey color. It's too bad we should have thought to have a sample here, Nicco, that we could have shown the viewers. But if you saw the product, you can just tell how rich and potent the product is. And of course, we've got the benefit, as you talked about, Nicco, that it's all natural, sun-grown product, no insecticides, no pesticides, which is really kind of a key element of our story. One other thing that we probably should talk about a little bit is the types of products that we're making now. And then also maybe, Nicco, some of the products that we've been discussing adding to our arsenal coming out of the 2021 crop. From an investment standpoint, it really is a terrific time to take a look at Christina Lake, because 2021 is going to see the convergence of both our 2020 crop and our 2021 crop from a sales perspective. So we're going to have a lot of biomass to work with. But maybe you can talk a little bit about some of the things and the innovative ideas that we have for producing product above and beyond the distillate that we've been producing to date.
Yeah, so last year we mainly pulled in a combination of keef, winterized oil, and distillate. Basically, we do a keef extraction and then bring it through winterized, and then whatever winterized we wanted to turn to distillate, we bring it up to the 90% plus distillate. This year, we're super fortunate that we're in a bit of a better situation. We got time on our favor. Last year we got licensed in March. There was a bit of a rush for planning for some different products, but this year we got the time. So we're very excited to go into the fresh frozen market and do some live products. Also, pre-rolls is huge for us. Our cost of production is unbeatable as far as flower goes, and we're looking really forward to producing some high quality pre-rolls. Like Joel mentioned and myself, as far as the potency levels, we have some of them that are testing up to 26%, and there are also some pretty rare terpene profiles. Like we've taken strains like Black Vietnamese and bred it out, and we have that coming off in a commercial quantity that we can actually deliver a strain specific pre-roll of Black Vietnamese that's sun grown. So we're pretty excited about doing that. Also, another thing it's not really a cannabis product, but it's a method. So we're also looking at doing some living soil as far as the cultivation techniques this year. And for those of you that are watching that have used living soil, we all know the terpene profiles that come off it are quite spectacular in the product as well. So that's something we're excited about doing this year.
Great. Well, as you mentioned, high quality, low cost is really what Christina Lake Cannabis is all about. I mean, we sit somewhere in the neighborhood of probably 10% to 15% of the cost of a typical indoor or greenhouse producer. So that's a tremendous advantage. If there's anybody producing product in Canada cheaper than us, I'd like to know it, because we believe that we're even much more competitive than the black market because of the scale that we're able to grow on outdoors. So we're very confident in our cost profile. And then really in terms of vision of the company, what we have been working very hard on is where we go in the future. We know that we can produce product very, very inexpensively and at volume and with high potency and high quality. What we're also doing is we're looking for next year and the year beyond down the line in terms of where we turn the business. And we've been looking at doing things such as partnering with people out in the industry in order to lower their cost. I think we offer a tremendous advantage for a partner in terms of making their product even more competitive on the market. If they have a downstream product, a lotion, a vape, whatever it might be, I think we offer a tremendous potential for partners from that perspective. So that I would say stay tuned. I think you'll see developments in that direction. So I think we wanted to leave a couple of minutes here, Nicco, for some questions, if there's questions out there in the audience. So maybe what we can do is turn it back over to you, Patrick, and happy to take questions on absolutely anything that your audience may have.
Awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate that. There's one here from Brad Moore, and give us as much as you can on this, Joel. But he's asking you for some guidance into this year and the next couple. Is there anything you want to tell us about the direction and what the investors here can be looking at?
Yeah, like a lot of public companies, we're always reluctant to give guidance. The industry is still young; it's developing. There's a lot of uncertainty. We know from a pricing perspective, that's partially driving our desire to get downstream, whether we develop products internally or whether we develop products in partnership with others. But in terms of guidance, what I would say is focus on a couple of things. I'm not going to give you specific numbers, but what I will tell you is that what I anticipate for 2021, and I'm talking specifically about our 2021 crop as opposed to our 2021 blended numbers, because that'll include both the 20 and 21 crops. But what I would expect to see is a significant increase in the molecule count and the amount of THC that we have available to sell. And that's because we learned a lot of things from our first year. We learned that maybe we left some of our strains in the field too long, and that by cultivating those strains harvesting those strains a little bit earlier, that we can maximize the THC content a little bit better. We've also adjusted the mix of strains to bump up our THC count. So what I would suggest for Brad is, if you go back, you look at what we did last year. So we advertised about 33,000 kilos of dried material that we produced last year. What I think you're going to see is a significant bump in the amount of THC that's coming off that product in 2021 and from the 2021 crop. So I think that combined with what Nicco talked about, which was kind of the mix of products that we're going to have available, and looking for some higher end product with higher values on it that we'll also be introducing, I think you'll see and be very pleased with the increase in and pending profitability of the company, which I am highly confident that we can attain within the next several months. That we can start to demonstrate just how effective our model is, how low cost our product is, and how profitable our business can become.
Awesome. Well, in the last couple minutes that we have here, you guys, I had a question about just the overall process, and Nicco and Joel, you guys both described it beautifully. I would imagine there's a lot of different reasons why you would go sun grown, outdoor, southern or southwestern Canada, right? And there's probably a lot of reasons why, some people would say, hey, no, get that in the greenhouse, or no, go to California or Colombia or some other place in the world, right? Now, Eric is asking, how do you manage production during the winter months, right? So a good question for sure. But I also wonder how it translates in sort of the decision that you've made to be sun-grown, and what that means for you, how that translates into the brands that you're building, right? And the work that you're doing with some of these other companies.
Why don't I throw that one at you, Nicco?
Sure. So as far as managing the production during the winter months, we don't produce outside during the winter months. We have an indoor facility where we maintain all our mother stock and clones. Basically, it's a couple person job to maintain them throughout that season. But what we do during the winter is we process our crops. So we have a very large secure storage that held all 32,500 kilos of our biomass. So we work off that. It takes about 6 months with the advancements of our co-solvent extraction system. So we're able to process for 6 months after our harvest, and then after that we're able to do tolling, hemp, other products like that. So that's kind of how our flow works with that. As far as the sun grown, it's absolutely critical to our brand. It's something I believe in personally and always have. Our yields that we had up to 1.44 kilos per plant last year. Actually double what expected, but once we got the site and got it tuned in, it absolutely pumped. It was one of our biggest successes, but also our largest challenge getting in that yield.
I would imagine.
Yeah, but just the low impact, clean grown, the 2021 crop was never sprayed with any sprays from start to finish. And that's including Health Canada approved sprays. Nothing went on those plants. Same with our insects, we treat them with beneficials. It's what this community in this area has to offer. Our power consumption that we use here is basically nothing. It's all sun grown, so it's a very responsible business. We're looking at using our distillate byproducts and some of our waste solvents to heat our greenhouses in the early spring. Actually utilizing that instead of sending it to waste. Constantly advancing, recycling our spent biomass, and working with fertilizer companies to introduce it into their blends. Just constantly focusing on making this as low impact as possible.
Awesome. Well, with that, my friends, I have to say goodbye to you for now, but we've got some questions in the chat about how they can trade you. And so I'll quote again, it's CLC on the Canadian Stock Exchange and CLCFF over the counter. So guys, we really appreciate you being here. I'm sure we'll see you again soon. Shout out to Jamie as always, and you guys absolutely kill it. So I'm excited to see what happens next.
Terrific. Thanks, Patrick.
Thanks,
Take care.